be strategic, okay? Look for what they're looking for and then tell them that you have it. This is the only way you're gonna get in. And welcome back to my channel. Priscilla here. So I did an old video on how to write a pharmacy personal statement, and I've been getting a couple of questions about how to prepare for the interview and for the entry tests that I talked about. So for today's session, I just thought I'd do a quick video on how to on how to prepare for your pharmacy interview. I have my computer here, so I'm just going to be looking over. So if you see me looking away, I'm not ignoring you, okay? Just looking on my screen. So just some background, I'm a dental student, but I applied to UCL and I got an unconditional offer in my cycle, so I have good experience with UCL pharmacy school applications, or with pharmacy school applications in general. For my cycle, I had an MMI interview, which means that I had I think it was about 2 people to 1 to me. Obviously it was about 2 interviewers to me at each station, and I think I had, if I remember correctly, I had either 2 or 3 stations. I'm not too sure, but I think it was either 2 or 3 stations. So after I was done with one, I had to move on to the next. So in my opinion, that is an MMI interview. A panel interview would be like an interview like 3 people seated and just questioning you back and forth like that. So with panel interviews, you normally don't move to other stations, just you and those interviewers. But for me, I had to move to a couple of stations, so I would regard that, or I would refer to that as an MMI interview, okay? So obviously with Corona going on and everything, I'm not sure that you guys are going to like go to UCL School of Pharmacy, or even to like any pharmacy school that you're applying to, and actually have face-to-face interviews. It's likely for your interviews to be online, like on Zoom or any other platform. I'm not sure if it's going to be panel, or if you're going to have to move to different like breakout rooms if it's online. So you might want to call your the uni you're applying to and find out how the interviews will be held. I can't tell you how that will go. So it's just a couple of questions that I know that they could ask you, because I've also had an interview myself, and a couple of that I just think it would make sense for a pharmacy school to ask you. So don't take this as a Bible. I'm not telling you that these questions are going to be asked. I'm just giving you a list of questions that I think would make sense for the interviewers to ask you at a pharmacy interview, okay? So the first question, which is a no-brainer, you should expect this question, like they could ask you that. It's, what are the qualities of a good pharmacist, okay? You're applying to pharmacy school. Before you get to this interview stage, you should already send your personal statement, and this question should have already be addressed in your personal statement. You should have told them qualities of a good pharmacist that you possess. Obviously you don't explicitly say these are the qualities of a good dentist and I have blah blah blah, but you should have embedded it in your personal statement in one way or another. If you don't know how to do that, I have a video of that you can check. I went into more detail in that other video. So if you have any examples of things you've done that showcase these qualities, you should talk about them if you can. Another question that is another no-brainer that you should know if you're applying to a UK pharmacy school is, what is the governing body of UK pharmacists? If you don't know about this, please go and look at it. It's the General Pharmaceutical Council, GPHC, and that is the governing body of UK pharmacy professionals, so you should know about them. Following on from the GPHC question, they could ask you, what are the 9 GPHC standards for pharmacy professionals in the UK? There are 9 standards that they abide by. So again, I'm not telling you to go sit there and study each standard, but have an idea of what the standards are. Go Google them so you know that you can talk about them if you're asked in your interview. So the next question that they could ask you during your interview is, why this university? If you're applying to UCL, why UCL? If you're applying to Nottingham, why Nottingham? If you're applying to whatever university you're applying to, why the university? So a good strategy to answering this question would be, go onto the university website, go onto your pharmacy section, check for the range of modules that is covered in this university that you're applying to. Check the teaching style that they use. Do they have placements? Do they use individual study a lot, like self-directed learning? Do they use a lot of group work? Check for all these things that are involved in the course structure, and then tell them that these are the things that attracted you to apply to that school. So let's say if they do a lot of placements, tell them that you like to have hands-on experience in pharmacies or in the actual hospitals that you might be working with, and so you feel like you will be most well adapted to that university, because other universities might not offer that placement. So tell them why you've chosen them over the next university that also offers pharmacy. We'll talk about some incentives that are offered by the school. So if they give you a chance to work part-time and pay you, you could talk about that. You could talk about the social life and the activities that are available in the school. Say you're applying to Plymouth, we're very close to the sea, so I'm sure they have like a surfing society or something like that. So if you like surfing, you could tell them, oh, I like to surf, and I know you have a surfing society in the school, so I would be able to contribute and meet new people that way. So you're basically telling them things that they already do that appeal to you, that have made you want to come to that university. You could also add things like the university's location. Say you're applying to UCL and you live in London, you could say, oh, I can travel from home if I attend UCL, and so that's one of the reasons why I chose it, because I don't have to spend money on accommodation as I will be traveling from home. That is a good reason to not want to leave London, because it's close to your home. So just things that make the university appealing to you are the things that you can say for this question. Another question they could ask you is what we call the behavioral questions. So something like, tell me about a time you were involved in a conflict. So 4 main ways to answer all behavioral questions. It could be any scenario. 4 main strategies you need to use to answer these questions are: you describe the situation, so whatever situation it was, that conflict was. Secondly, you tell them the role you played in that. So what did you do what was your role in that? What did you do to help to reduce or to stop that conflict? And then the third one is to relate to the outcome. So what was the outcome of what was the outcome of your input to that situation? And 4, what you learned from it. So describe the situation, tell them what you did in that situation to help alleviate it. Tell them what the outcome of your intervention was, and then tell them what you learned from that whole thing. These are the 4 steps you need for all behavioral questions. Whenever they ask you, tell me about a time XYZ happened, these are the 4 things you should do. You'll never go wrong if you answer it this way, okay? Every time you hear, tell me about a time that XYZ happened, straight up, go to those 4 tips, and you'll be perfectly fine with your answer. One very common interview question for all kinds of like courses and even jobs sometimes is, tell me about your strengths and weaknesses. Guys, the worst thing you can do is to be on like either end of the spectrum. You do not want to say that you are a perfectionist and you don't have any flaws, because that is not true, and it just doesn't cut it. As a healthcare professional, you're expected to have a professional duty of conduct. What that means is that you're expected to be honest. You're expected to be honest with your patients, to be honest with your co-workers. So if you're in an interview trying to get into pharmacy and they're asking you what is your weakness, and you tell them you're perfect, you have no weaknesses, that is not honest. That is not the type of people that they want on their course. So do not say that you don't have any weaknesses. On the other extreme end, do not say that you lose your temper and throw chairs around the room. You are a pharmacist, you will be working with very vulnerable people, so they expect you to have some level of safety. They expect you to be able to keep yourself and your patients safe. So if you're the type that throws chairs around the room, you can literally just walk out of that interview, know that you're not going to get called back, because they just don't want that. So you want to talk about a weakness that can be improved upon. Talk about a weakness that can be managed. A weakness that is not that does not bring safety issues to yourself and to the people around you, and a weakness that is not a perfectionist type thing. Like that just doesn't cut it, okay? So a weakness you could say would be something along the lines of, I know I could improve my patience when working with people who don't work at the same pace as I do. What I have found is that by helping members of the team who are having problems, I can move things forward instead of being frustrated and doing nothing. So what I've done here is tell them of my issue, and is that I don't have a lot of patience, but I've learned that by helping people in my team who do not work at the same pace as I do, by helping people who might be slower than I am, I have found that I can move things forward instead of being frustrated and doing nothing. So that is the type of answer you want to give. Something that can be managed, a weakness that can be improved upon. And obviously for the strengths, you should know about like I said, the qualities of a good dentist. Sorry, I'm a dental student. I have dentist on my lips like a lot of times. Apologies for that. You should look for the qualities of a good pharmacist, and then tell them that you have these strengths, okay? Obviously, don't say the qualities of a good pharmacist are A, B, C, and D, and I have A, B, C, and D. But embed it in your answer. Say that my qualities or my strengths are, I'm a good communicator, I'm a good team player, I'm a very empathetic person. Like things that they expect you to have as a good pharmacist, tell them that you have these strengths, okay? Another question that they could ask you, again, this is another no-brainer. Why do you want to study pharmacy? You should have already addressed this in your personal statement. So what I'll say is read your personal statement before every single interview. Make sure you know every word that you've written in your personal statement, because it's expected that you wrote that personal statement yourself. Even if you didn't, we expect that you did it yourself, okay? So make sure that everything you have on your personal statement, you know, because they could ask you even questions about things you've said you've done in the personal statement. But back to what I was talking about, why do you want to study pharmacy? You should have already addressed this in your personal statement, so just go over it and elaborate during your interview. If you don't know what to say, again, I have made a video on that, you can check that out. Another question they could ask you since you're applying to UK dentistry, another question they could ask you since you're applying to UK pharmacy would be based around the NHS and privatisation. So they could ask you a question like, you have a relative who needs to undergo surgery, or a friend who needs to undergo surgery, and they have the options of going the NHS way or going private. Which one would you advise them to go for, and why? So in my opinion, there's no right or wrong answer here. There's no right or wrong answer here. What they want to know is your thought process and how you got to your final answer. Even if you give an answer that the interview might not agree with in his own life, you should be able to back what you said, okay? So evaluate it. And also what you don't want to do is to just like say, I'll tell them to go private and not talk about NHS at all. They want you to weigh both sides, okay? It's a decision-making question, okay? They want to know how you make decisions. Do you weigh both sides of the option, or do you just disregard one part and just solely go for the other? So you want to talk about both sides and then come to an answer in the end. They don't like it when you sit on the fence. They want you to have an opinion, and you should be able to back that opinion you have. This is just a general life skill. Everybody should have their own opinions, and they should be able to evaluate and back why they have such opinions. So something you could do to answer this question would be just literally talk them through your thought process and then get to the end. So you could say something along the lines of, you'd consider their financial status. So if this person we're talking about is an unemployed person with 3 dependents, like 3 children dependent on them, you know that private wouldn't do them any good because they're unemployed and they have people dependent on them. You could talk about the urgency of the treatment and raise up the issue of long waiting lists on the NHS. You could say there is a long waiting list on the NHS, so if it's an urgent treatment, then they might want to consider which one they would want to go for. You could also bring up the issue that because the NHS is so it's in such high demand, the appointment or the surgery appointment that they might give the person might not necessarily like be tailored to their work life, so they might have to leave work to go and have that surgery, which could cost them some time at work. Like, you're evaluating this, you're thinking about all the different options that could happen in a situation like this. So you could talk about the difference in the quality of treatment. If you think that there's any difference in the quality of treatment between NHS and private, talk about that and tell them why you think that. If you don't think there's any difference in quality of service, tell them that wouldn't be a factor here because you believe that there's no difference in the quality of service between the NHS and private hospitals, because they're all regulated by the GMC, the General Medical Council. So you're literally just telling them what you believe. They want to know about your beliefs and see if you can evaluate these beliefs. At the same time, they want to know that you know how the NHS and the private system work. Obviously not every detail about them, but you have an idea of what the NHS is and what private treatment looks like as well. So some more specific or some more pharmacy related questions. I can't say if they'll absolutely ask you these questions, but they do make sense to me for a pharmacy school to ask you questions like this. So a question like name a prescription medicine and what it does. So if you don't know about that, just go research it. Literally just one medicine that you can only get with prescription in the UK and what it does. And then there's a big issue of antibiotic resistance now that the NHS and the UK medicine and pharmacy boards are trying to reduce. So it will make sense to me for them to ask you, what is antibiotic resistance and how can we reduce it? If you don't know what this is, quickly just Google search it so you have an idea of it and can talk about it if you're asked that in your interview. And leading on from this, they could also ask you, would you prescribe antibiotics for somebody with a flu? So they want to know that you have some basic understanding of what antibiotics are and what like common diseases like flus and colds are. So how you could answer this question is, flu is a viral infection, okay? It's caused by a virus. Antibiotics are made to combat bacterial infections, okay? So no, you will not recommend or you will not prescribe an antibiotic for someone with a flu. So viral infections like flus and colds and things, the answer is in the name. It's a viral infection. It's caused by a virus. Antibiotics cannot treat viruses. Antibiotics cannot play any role in improving recovery with a viral infection. You could add, however, that antibiotics would only be needed if they developed a complication like bacterial pneumonia, okay? So no, you would not prescribe antibiotics for viral infections. So the last question that I want to include in this video is, what contribution could you bring to a career as a pharmacist, okay? Again, you want to search for the responsibilities of a pharmacist and tell them that these are the things that you're bringing. Guys, be strategic, okay? Look for what they're looking for and then tell them that you have it. This is the only way you're gonna get in. They know the responsibility. This is just literally them asking you, but like frames in a different way. Do you know the responsibilities of a good pharmacist? What is your purpose as a pharmacist? That's what this question is. I'm going to read a few for you that you could work with. Pharmacists are responsible for checking the quality of medicine. You're responsible for checking the quality of medicines that you supply to your patients. You're responsible for advising patients on how to take the drug that you're prescribing, how many times a day to take it, what complications could occur. You could say that you're going to ensure that the medicines you're prescribing are within the law, okay? So you're not prescribing anything that's illegal, and you're also making sure that the person or the patient you're prescribing it to is suitable to have this medicine prescribed, that you're not prescribing anything to people who are underage for that kind of medication. So basically that's how I'd say you could answer this question. Look for the responsibilities of the pharmacist and tell them that these are the contributions that you would bring to the table. So that's it, guys. That's all for today. Those are a few questions that I thought about, and I thought I'd make this video just to help you guys on how to answer these questions. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section, or I'll leave my email address in the comment section below and my other social media. Get in touch with me. I reply all my emails or all my questions if it's anything regarding like dental, medical, pharmacy school, like uni applications, I will reply, okay? I'm interested in you guys' journey and I want to know how your applications go. So keep in touch. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if you have any issues. Let me know of any other videos that you want me to do. The next video I'm going to make will be the UCL pharmacy entry test, because I've got a couple of questions on that as well. And yeah, so that's it for today. I'm wishing you all the very best with your applications. I know it's tough because it's COVID and everything has changed so much, but I hope you ace it. I hope you get in, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.